What's good, y'all? Welcome to my podcast. My name is Tay. Thank you all for visiting. Please don't hesitate to hit that like button or the subscribe button. I think you need to hit the bell in order to be notified about upcoming podcasts and whatnot. I try to do them each week. They either come out on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Um, Random observation of the day. Never forget, if you ain't voting for Joe Biden, you ain't black. um, Now I got to talk about this a little bit. When he said that, I wasn't even like surprised. It was obviously off-putting, but it was par for the course when you look at these political parties and how they display their engagement, with black people. It's always superficial. It's always stupid. You can think about the two overweight women that were singing Trump's praises. I think their name was like Sky and Angel or some stupid shit like that, right? Then with Joe Biden saying that, or with how they promoted the vaccine in such a stereotypical manner, you can get a free bucket of fried chicken if you get the vaccine. And that wasn't a real thing, but they did have other things. Like, we can give you some marijuana, some pre-rolls if you take this vaccine, and a couple of other things. Get your booty to the polls. Like, we could go on and how they disrespect black people and get you into the polling office, and then give you nothing in return. I don't know any politician has done anything for black people, and even the black vice president said we can't do something specifically for black people. Meanwhile, they're doing things specifically for, Asians and LGBTQ, and the black experience is very unique in and of itself. Our problems are unique, but they don't want to fix that because capitalism needs a lower class to push down in order to prop certain people up, right? And to speak more about Biden, like, his heroes were like Strom Thurmond and shit. Look up Strom Thurmond. Like, he's a KKK dude. Like, he hated black people, man. Wanted to do everything to oppress them. Why would Joe Biden be any different? And how condescending he is towards black people should tell you everything. And it's not just him. It's the whole political party, right? I mean, not political party. It's everything in politics. It's the whole government. We're presented with the illusion of choice every election year. It's called the Hegelian dialectic. Hegelian dialectic. So it's a method whereby somebody who's trying to control someone, and when we talk about government and voting, we talk about the populace. You give them the problem and a solution, or you give them two choices that they can choose from. Of course, we could vote independent, but when has that ever happened? It's never happened. Most people are picking one of the two sides because that's what they want you to do. If they give you both sides of the equation, if they offer them both to you, then in the end, they're getting what they want. And what they really want is obscured from view. Even though we can see it, because I told y'all in past podcasts, when you're dealing with a person, don't pay attention to what they're saying. Pay attention to what they're doing. And we can see everything that the government does. It's happening to us, right? They steal our money through taxes. They force certain things on us like vaccines and mask mandates and all this. Laws that don't really contribute to the betterment of society. They enforce the laws how they want to. Okay, you may not agree with me on everything I'm saying, but the stuff I'm saying is true. Because the way I look at it, all evil is based in control, imposing your will on somebody else. That's not for you to do. Even if you look at the Bible, whether you believe in the Bible or not, really God is the only one making the rules. And that's it. Nobody else is supposed to do nothing. It's sinful to judge. And judgment, I think in this context would play to the fact of I'm going to sentence you 5 years for marijuana possession or whatever it is. Just stupid stuff, it's idiotic. But I digress, because I could talk about that on and on, but I'll give you this solution, okay? But before I switch topics and get to the main topic, the solution is to resist conformity, decolonize your mind, and stop acquiescing to control. It's very important, because when you can control somebody's actions and thoughts, you're inevitably controlling the soul to a degree. Okay? So be aware of that, It's really important what we're doing down here and what we support and who we support. Very important. All right. So that was my little tangent. But for this episode, I wanted to read something to you guys that I kind of got hip to via another podcast. There's a podcast I listen to quite often called What on Earth is Happening? And the presenter on there, the host, Mark Passio, he did an episode where he also read this address, it's a valedictorian speech from 2010. And I'm going to assume, all of my listeners right now have gone through the American school system. And I think that this letter, because it's a graduation speech, I don't know about y'all, how y'all going to feel. Please sound off in the comments. But for me, it echoed a lot of what I felt and what I thought. Granted, when I was graduating, I'm not sure that I had the vocabulary to express the things I felt. Without any further ado, this is graduation speech by Erica Goldson from her Athens High School graduation valedictorian speech in 2010. All right. There is a story of a young but earnest Zen student who approached his teacher and asked the master, "If I work very hard and diligently, how long will it take for me to find Zen?" The master thought about this, then replied, 10 years. The student then said, "But what if I work very, very hard and really apply myself to learn fast? How long then?" Replied the master, "Well, 20 years. "But if I really, really work at it, how long then?" asked the student. 30 years, replied the master. "But I do not understand," said the disappointed student. "At each time that I say I will work harder, you say it will take me longer. Why do you say that?" Replied the master, "When you have one eye on the goal, you only have one eye on the path." This is the dilemma I faced within the American education system. We are so focused on the goal, whether it be passing a test or graduating as first in the class. However, in this way, we do not really learn. We do whatever it takes to achieve our original objective. Some of you may be thinking, well, if you pass a test or become valedictorian, didn't you learn something? Well, yes, you learned something, but not all that you could have. Perhaps you only learned how to memorize names, places, and dates to later on forget in order to clear your mind for the next test. School is not all that it can be. Right now, it is a place for most people to determine that their goal is to get out as soon as possible. I am now accomplishing that goal. I am graduating. I should look at this as a positive experience, especially being top of my class. However, in retrospect, I cannot say that I am any more intelligent than my peers. I can attest that I am only the best at doing what I am told and working the system. Yet, here I stand. And I am supposed to be proud that I have completed this period of indoctrination. I will leave in the fall to go on to the next phase expected of me, in order to receive a paper document that certifies that I am capable of work. But I contest that I am a human being, a thinker, an adventurer, not a worker. A worker is someone who is trapped within repetition, a slave of the system set up before him. But now I have successfully shown that I was the best slave. I did what I was told to the extreme. While others sat in class and doodled to later become great artists, I sat in class to take notes and become a great test taker. While others would come to class without their homework done because they were reading about an interest of theirs, I never missed an assignment. While others were creating music and writing lyrics, I decided to do extra credit, even though I never needed it. So I wonder, why did I even want this position? Sure, I earned it, but what will come of it? When I leave educational institutionalism, will I be successful or forever lost? I have no clue about what I want to do with my life. I have no interests because I saw every subject of study as work, and I excelled at every subject just for the purpose of excelling, not learning. And quite frankly, now I'm scared. John Taylor Gatto, a retired school teacher and activist critical of compulsory schooling, asserts, "We could encourage the best qualities of youthfulness, curiosity, adventure, resilience, the capacity for surprising insight simply by being more flexible about time, texts, and tests, by introducing kids into truly competent adults, and by giving each student what autonomy he or she needs in order to take a risk every now and then." But we don't do that. Between these cinder block walls, we are all expected to be the same. We are trained to ace every standardized test, and those who deviate and see light through a different lens are worthless to the scheme of public education and therefore viewed with contempt. H.L. Mencken wrote in the American Mercury for April 1924 that the aim of public education is not to fill the young of the species with knowledge and awaken their intelligence. Nothing could be further from the truth. The aim is simply to reduce as many individuals as possible to the same safe level, to breed and train a standardized citizenry to put down dissent and originality. That is its aim in the United States. To illustrate this idea, doesn't it perturb you to learn about the idea of critical thinking? Is there really such a thing as uncritically thinking? To think is to process information in order to form an opinion. But if we are not critical when processing this information, are we really thinking? Or are we mindlessly accepting others' opinions as truth? This was happening to me. And if it wasn't for the rare occurrence of an avant-garde 10th grade English teacher, Donna Bryan, who allowed me to open my mind and ask questions before accepting textbook doctrine, I would have been doomed. I am now enlightened, but my mind still feels disabled. I must retrain myself and constantly remember how insane this ostensibly sane place really is. And now here I am, in a world guided by fear. A world suppressing the uniqueness that lies inside each of us. A world where we can either acquiesce to the inhuman nonsense of corporatism and materialism or insist on change. We are not enlivened by an educational system that clandestinely sets us up for jobs that could be automated, for work that need not be done, for enslavement without fervency or meaningful achievement. We have no choices in life when money is our motivational force. Our motivational force ought to be passion. But this is lost from the moment we step into a system that trains us rather than inspires us. We are more than robotic bookshelves, conditioned to blurt out facts we were taught in school. We are all very special. Every human on this planet is so special. So aren't we deserving of something better, of using our minds for innovation rather than memorization, for creativity rather than futile activity, for rumination rather than stagnation? Are we not here to get a degree, to go then get a job, so we can consume industry-approved placation after placation. There is more, and more still. The saddest part is that the majority of students don't have the opportunity to reflect as I did. The majority of students are put through the same brainwashing techniques in order to create a complacent labor force working in the interest of large corporations and secretive government. And worst of all, they are all completely unaware of it. I would never be able to turn back these 18 years. I can't run away to another country with an education system meant to enlighten rather than condition. This part of my life is over, and I want to make sure that no other child will have his or her potential suppressed by powers meant to exploit and control. We are human beings. We are thinkers, dreamers, explorers, artists, writers, engineers. We are anything we want to be, but only if we have an educational system that supports us rather than holds us down. A tree can grow, but only if its roots are given a healthy foundation. For those of you out there that must continue to sit in desks and yield to the authoritarian ideologies of instructors, do not be disheartened. You still have the opportunity to stand up, ask questions, be critical, and create your own perspective. Demand a setting that will provide you with intellectual capabilities that allow you to expand your mind instead of directing it. Demand that you be interested in class. Demand that the excuse, "you have to learn for this test," is not good enough for you. Education is an excellent tool if used properly, but focus more on learning rather than getting good grades. For those of you that work within the system that I am condemning, I do not mean to insult. I intend to motivate. You have the power to change the incompetencies of the system. I know you did not become a teacher or administrator to see your students bored. You cannot accept the authority of the governing bodies that tell you what to teach, how to teach it, and that you will be punished if you do not comply. Our potential is at stake. For those of you that are now leaving this establishment, I say, do not forget what went on in these classrooms. Do not abandon those that come after you. We are the new future, and we are not going to let tradition stand. We will break down the walls of corruption to let a garden of knowledge grow throughout America. Once educated properly, we will have the power to do anything. And best of all, we will only use that power for good, for we will be cultivated and wise. We will not accept anything at face value. We will ask questions and we will demand truth. So here I stand. I am not standing here as valedictorian by myself. I was molded by my environment, by all of my peers who are sitting here watching me. I couldn't have accomplished this without all of you. It was all of you who truly made me the person I am today. It was all of you who were my competition, yet my backbone. In that way, we are all valedictorians. I am now supposed to say farewell to this institution, those who maintain it, and those who stand with me and behind me. But I hope this farewell is more of a see you later, when we are all working together to rear a pedagogic movement. But first, let's go get those pieces of paper that tell us that we're smart enough to do so. Again, that was Erica Goldson's speech, valedictorian speech, 2010 from Athens High School. Like I said, when I was 18 or so, I did not have the vocabulary to express all of that. I think it was in my mind, but it just felt futile to resist it. And being almost 40 now, I can tell you that everything that she's saying still holds true. I halfway joke all the time that being in the workforce, if you're punching the clock, you're a slave, period. If you enjoy your job and you're doing something that you're passionate about, I don't know if I can say the same, but I do think that we are all victims of debt slavery. Taxation equals theft, and if you are systematically stolen from, systematically extorted, then to me that is slavery, or at the least indentured servitude. But everything she said was really on point. I think that teenagers need to hear this. I think it maybe needs to be explained at a language where grammar school students can understand, because they should be asking questions and really be doing things that they want to do and that kind of fit their abilities and capabilities and push them further, push them to be better, but also allow them to think outside the box. Teachers need to hear that speech. I think it should be required reading for someone to, going through any kind of educational, trying to get an educational degree and whatnot. But let me know what y'all think about it. Sound off in the comments. Please press the like button. Peace and prosperity to y'all, man.